Jeff Anliker, CEO of Balance Systems Incorporated, was a recent featured guest on Jim Lovell's Executive Forum program. Here is that segment.
Today, more and more of you and the people you work with are suffering from repetitive strain injuries and carpal tunnel syndrome. The effect on businesses and personal lives is profound and often painful. Carpal tunnel syndrome and repetitive stress injuries are at the top of the list for reasons for lost time from work. Almost 900,000 cases are reported each year, and each of these results in an average of 30 or more days of missed work.
The incredible number of repetitive tasks that employees must do each day in order to produce the highest amount of output at the lowest cost has had lasting physical effects on individuals. Carpal tunnel syndrome and repetitive stress injuries have increased dramatically in the workplace over the past few years. But many of the products that have emerged to treat this problem either have not worked or have served to increase the problem. Joining me is Jeff Anliker, CEO of Balance Systems Incorporated, a company that has developed a medical device to combat and even prevents these injuries. Welcome, Jeff. Welcome to the Executive Forum.
Thank you, Jim. It's good to be here.
Recently, we have been hearing a lot about carpal tunnel syndrome and other repetitive stress injuries becoming a problem for business employees. What exactly is causing these injuries?
Well, carpal tunnel syndrome and repetitive stress injuries are caused by a muscle imbalance between the flexor muscles of the hand that close the hand and the extensor muscles that open the hand. In all daily activities we perform is repetitive closing of the hand, typing, writing, driving, gripping a steering wheel, those types of activities. And nothing we do utilizes the extensor muscles, so they never really receive any direct stimuli. You don't open a door with the back of your hand. You don't type with the backs of your fingers. And so what happens is that the flexor muscles that close the hand become much, much stronger than the extensor muscles. So what this creates is a joint imbalance, which impinges the carpal tunnel. And so that's where you get the painful symptoms that result. And if you were to relate it to a muscle imbalance in, say, your leg, many times people, if you had your quadriceps were 5 times stronger than your hamstring muscle on the back of your leg, you wouldn't be able to walk. And this is one of the problems, is that they have not related it to the hand, or many times the flexor muscles that close the hand, since they're used continuously in every activity we do, are 5 times stronger than the muscles that open the hand.
As I understand it, Jeff, nearly all of the products that have been developed to treat this growing problem have involved gripping devices or splints. And you say that this only increases the stress injury, actually causing more harm. Now, could you explain that to me?
Yes, gripping devices involve the flexor muscles, which are the cause of carpal tunnel syndrome in the first place. And how are you going to treat a problem by duplicating the exact same action that caused the problem in the first place? Like squeezing balls and things like that, which is what they've been using in the medical industry for the last 15 years to treat this problem. And in reference to wrist splints and wrist braces, they have a positive and a negative effect. Wrist braces, what they do is if you're using them during the daytime, they should not be used, because what happens is they hold your wrist up for you, okay? And so the thing is that the extensor muscles in the back of the hand, which are already weak, become even weaker because you don't even have to hold your own hand up anymore, okay? But for nighttime use, they are very, very good, because many, many people, when they go to sleep at night, they do a lot of wrist curling, and they make a fist when they go to sleep, which shortens up the already strong, tight flexor muscles that we use on a daily basis. So using wrist braces at night is okay, because it keeps the hands straight in a neutral position and keeps the flexor muscles from tightening down and impinging the carpal tunnel and making the symptoms even worse.
You seem to have a grasp on this problem. I can see that.
Yes, I do.
Understand that Balance Systems has created a product called Flextend. Now, well, how does that work?
Well, Flextend is an exercise system that addresses the problem and corrects the muscle imbalance between these two muscle groups. Since everything we do is in flexion, it's an exercise system that strengthens the extensor muscles, the muscles that open the hand, that we never ever really get to use. I mean, they never receive any direct stimulus. And so it actively stretches the flexor muscles in the front of the hand, which are so tight and so strong, while strengthening the weak extensor muscles, therefore creating equal pull on both sides of the joint and stabilizing the carpal and metacarpal bones within that joint and relieving all symptoms.
These are the most important exercises and should be the first exercises that you do with Flextend. Palm up, elbow moving. Begin this exercise with the hand in palm up position. The elbow needs to be in full flexion with the elbow stationary at your side. The hand should be positioned near the shoulder with the fingers and wrist in flexion, making a relaxed fist. Now begin to spread the fingers apart, opening your hand, extending the fingers, wrist, and elbow backwards in a smooth, controlled motion. Palm up exercise isolated. This exercise is done exactly like the previous exercise, without moving the elbow into extension, and only moving the fingers and wrist.
Well, how often must Flextend be used a day to create results? And, how long does it take before an afflicted individual really feels it?
Flextend, you only have to use it a few minutes in the morning, and again a few minutes in the afternoon and evening, depending on how severe your symptoms are. And generally people see results within 4 to 6 weeks. We've had people who have suffered from carpal tunnel syndrome for 2 to 3 years and have had complete resolution of symptoms in as little as 2 to 3 weeks. We've had people who were scheduled for surgery 6 weeks out, and in 3 weeks were able to cancel their surgery appointments, and they were back to work full-time with no symptoms whatsoever. So it's a very, very unique tool. You don't have to wear it all day long, like in wrist braces and things like that, which limits the function in your hand. What you're doing is just exercising the hand, putting the joint back in its normal functioning position, and making people symptom-free, and it's very, very easy to use.
Can you tell me what professions have these injuries been most prevalent in, and who's most at risk?
Well, the advancement of technology and computer users. And the thing is, I used to see people with carpal tunnel developing it at age 30 to 40 years old. And now with so much computer use and the younger and younger generation, you're seeing kids using it 7 years old, you're going to see it increase even more and more. But in every occupation where people use their hands, from truck drivers who grip steering wheels all day, to grocery clerks who are checking things at high rates of speed, as well as people who are working in the manufacturing industry, and assembly line workers, it affects everybody who uses their hands.
Well, I always thought it was only the typists that had this carpal tunnel syndrome.
No, you're seeing more and more people that are assembly line workers, especially everything's fast-paced today. You got the assembly line, and what you want to do is have high output, and the thing is that people are having to try to keep up with that, and they're doing repetitive tasks over and over and over. It's affecting every industry. We're getting many, many electrical workers and construction workers. And one of the hugest industries, on the average, it's 3% to 15% of workers who actually get carpal tunnel syndrome. But the biggest industries is computer users and meat packing industry and things like that. And it's where it's as high as 15%. So you're seeing that society is getting faster and faster and faster. We must produce more, and we must do more in less time. And so the thing is it's affecting more and more people every year.
I would suspect that these injuries cost companies billions of dollars annually from what you're telling me. Now, how does your product save money for employers?
Well, carpal tunnel syndrome is definitely on the rise, costing $20 billion annually and upwards to $30 billion a year they're expecting. Flextend can save corporations and insurance companies a tremendous amount of money. If you can see a problem, so you point out a problem area, and you can address it when people first start to get symptoms, okay, what you can do is that you're decreasing their lost time from work, which is one of the biggest factors for people's lost time from work is repetitive strain injuries of the hand. You can also increase their work productivity and their well-being. You're going to decrease workers' compensation claims as well as disability claims, so lost time from work. You're also going to decrease if someone has surgery or they have to be off work or put on light duty, who has to take over their job? Somebody else has to put in their job, so you've got part-time workers and you have everybody else that's going to cost the company more and more money.
Will insurance cover the costs of the product?
Yes, at this moment we have workers' compensation and labor and industry pay for this product, as well as most major insurance companies do pay for this product. And what's nice is that they're starting to focus on preventative, and like many people have mentioned before, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Prevent it, you're going to save yourself a lot of money down the road, and insurance companies are starting to see this. Why spend billions of dollars after an injury already exists? When you see it coming, prevent it.
What is your success rate, Jeff, and how do you compare with, say, the surgical procedures to correct these problems?
Our success rate to date is 98% and a little bit better, which is absolutely phenomenal and almost unbelievable, which many people are going to say.
98%?
98%, sir.
I believe you.
And the thing is that surgical procedures have close to a 60% failure rate, and that's anywhere from 1 to 6 years. So 1 year after you have surgery, you may have at least 1 to 2 of the symptoms that you had previously. Some people suffer it within 2 months after having the surgical procedure. And as well as wrist braces and things like that, they have a failure rate of over 80% in terms of providing relief for people. So our product with 98%, unbelievable. A lot of people are not going to believe it, but we're willing to prove it to them.
Well, thank you, Jeff. For all of us that suffer daily from repetitive stress injuries, we are very grateful for your products.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
For the Executive Forum, I'm Jim Lovell.
For more information and to order Flextend, call 1-888-BSI-5444. With Flextend, relief is in your hands.